Our journey begins within the blazing desert of hell, where we find a girl exhausted from the heat, holding a mechanical watch in her hand, clearly worried about something. Going back, we are given an introduction to the character. Her name is Alicia Sirius Line. She was the only girl born into the Line Marquis family in 200 years. On paper, to the world, she was the youngest beloved daughter of the family, a flower so precious that she was hidden away from the outside world. This was the image people had of Alicia over time. The real Alicia, however, used to stutter her first words. She was a fragile child, afraid of people, always staying away in different buildings and constantly reading books. Alicia had always been conscious of her situation as the illegitimate child of the family, but despite her suffering, she endured the storms that came her way in many forms. Still, being born a girl in the family, she was registered as the child of the Marchioness and was allowed to live her life as the lady of the house. However, this peace lasted only until she turned 17, the age when she was to be used as a tool for the family. Her father, the head of the family, ordered her to marry. After a while, she was introduced to Gregory of the Baker Count family, a powerful figure in the imperial capital and the north. At first, the talks between the families progressed smoothly, but soon Gregory was caught cheating, and the situation took a turn for the worse. This led to a duel trial where he survived but became disabled. The Line family declared the engagement broken, but the Gregory family opposed it, leading to a lawsuit that dragged on for 8 long years. When the final results came in favor of the Line family, Alicia was already 25 years old, considered discarded goods by societal standards. Not long after, Alicia was summoned by her father. When she entered his office, he informed her that he had found her next match. She was to marry Grand Duke Leichardt Tessin. This decision shocked Alicia because Duke Tessin was a famous ruler, known as the guardian of the western border and the emperor's half-brother. His land was called the Land of Gold and Death. He was also infamous for the tragic fate of his wives, earning him the reputation of a cursed husband. Until now, he had already lost 6 grand duchesses. The first mysteriously passed away after marriage. The second could not survive the harsh environment and later died of an illness. The third fled in fear, but after being forced back by imperial order, she too died in an accident. The fourth, fifth, and sixth all met similar ends. Marrying him was seen as the same as signing away one's life. Even Alicia, who rarely left her home, had heard of these rumors. Surely her father knew them too, and by arranging this marriage, she realized he was sending her off to her death. Alicia's thoughts swirled in fear. She didn't want to die. She silently wished for someone to save her. Her father asked if she had anything to say. She raised her head, wanting to speak, but the cold expression on his face silenced her. Terrified, she broke into a sweat and surrendered, replying that she had nothing else to add. With that, she returned to her quarters. On her way back, she looked out the window. The gloomy weather seemed like a sign, and soon rain began to fall. Back in her room, her loyal maid, who had served her the longest, was gently arranging Alicia's hair. Gathering her courage, the maid begged her not to marry. Realizing she had overstepped, she panicked and apologized, but Alicia reassured her that it was fine, then asked to be left alone. Sitting in her room, Alicia's gaze fell on a box lying on her table. She remembered her father telling her that along with a marriage contract, the Tessin family had sent a gift box. He had instructed her to open it with proper courtesy. Alicia opened the beautifully decorated box, which contained many precious items. Among them, one object drew her attention. At first, she thought it was a pendant, but upon closer inspection, she realized it was a mechanical watch. The moment she looked at it, the world around her spun, and everything became dizzy. In a second, she was pulled somewhere else. In complete darkness, Alicia looked around in confusion. Suddenly, something thick and sticky fell onto her face. As she tried to process what it was, she became aware of a terrifying presence behind her. A monster had been watching her, seeing her as prey. Before she could react, it lunged at her with the intent to devour her. Alicia froze, wondering if this was just a dream. On January 1st of the year 350, by the Benedict calendar, Alicia Sirius Line fell into the place called Hell. In an unknown place that is equivalent to Hell, we find Alicia hiding in a pitch-dark cave. She seems to be waiting for the monsters to sleep. When all the monsters fall asleep, she tries to escape the cave. She recalls the moment when she first fell into this hell. She was killed by a monster, and she died. Then she corrects herself. She had already died before. It is a confusing situation, but somehow she has become immortal. Normally, even a paper cut that takes weeks to heal now disappears in a single day, even if she is seriously injured and can't move. Now she cannot die even if she wants to. At the start, she begged the monsters to spare her life over and over, but soon she adapted and began shouting at them in anger, something she had never done before. Slowly, she released all the emotions she had held inside: fear, rebellion, and rage. In the end, she decided for herself that she must try to run away. Still, she wonders if she can really escape this place on her own. Harshly trained by years of fear, her psychological scars rise up, and she begins to question herself. What if the monsters get angry? How much more terrified will she become? Conflicted with her own doubts, she suddenly finds herself running without realizing it. She ran and ran as far as her legs could carry her, wondering if she was on the right path through the cave. Finally, she saw a glimmer of hope, an exit with light shining from the outside. She pushed forward, filled with determination to escape. But just as she reached the exit, the sharp fangs of a monster sank into her back. When she regained consciousness, she concluded that this attempt had failed like the others. This had happened to her many times. After countless failures, her bones piled up in the corner, and she had already lost track of how many times she had died. Thinking about how she could not die and had become immortal, she wondered if this would have been considered a blessing had she married the Duke. She could not die, which made her the perfect bride for the man infamous for the deaths of his duchesses. If he had known someone like her existed, perhaps he would have begged her to marry him. Perhaps marrying her could have cleared his stained reputation. Then suddenly it struck her. If she hated the pain, why not kill the monsters herself? Alicia wondered why something so simple had taken her so long to realize. In a world where it was kill or be killed, she could not die. That meant she could destroy anything that tried to stop her. Once she made up her mind, the rest became easier. The cave floor was already littered with countless bones, which she could use as weapons. The monsters were finite in number, unlike her, who could heal endlessly. The outcome of this battle was already clear. The hunter became the hunted. Starting with the weaker ones, Alicia killed them one by one, slowly and steadily. Eventually, she was forced to face the largest monster of the pack. The enraged beast attacked her, but Alicia was no longer the timid girl she once was. She became a warrior forged in the depths of hell. After a fierce battle, she finally won. The beast collapsed in defeat, and Alicia cursing it for everything it had put her through. After clearing the cave, Alicia began searching the cracks in the stone. When she had first arrived here, the very first thing she had done was hide the watch. She knew it was the reason she had come to this place and would be important in the future. In the dark cave, where no natural light existed, this watch was the only way to track time. When she looked at it, she saw the date, the 19th of the first month. When she had first fallen into hell, it had been the first. In that time, she had died countless times, each death leaving its mark on her. Realizing this, she turned back to the monster's remains, yelling and cursing at them for all the suffering she had endured. She shouted that even though she had died many times, in the end, she had survived and won. She screamed at it, asking if it had any idea how much agony came as she kicked the remains, scattering them across the floor. Something caught her attention. A yellow jewel lay, shining among the beast's remains. She picked it up and examined it with curiosity, wondering what kind of power this jewel might hold. Alicia continues to look at the magic gemstone and wonders what this jewel is. In the next scene, we are shown the Duke's house, where he holds a cuff button containing a similar jewel. One of his men enters his office after receiving permission. The man apologizes for disturbing him, but says he has something urgent to report. He tells the Duke that a carriage with a Marquis's crest of rain has entered through the front gate. The Duke wonders aloud if someone has died, but the man explains that the problem is their daughter has gone missing. Hearing this, the Duke laughs and asks what kind of game this is. He says there are only two possibilities. Either she really has disappeared, or she has run away to oppose the marriage. He then wonders if she was destined to die in the first place. Now back in hell, Alicia is hunting monsters. More than 8 years seem to have passed there, and in this time, she has become a battle-hardened warrior forged by fire and pain. She attacks the monsters without hesitation, her eyes showing no fear. She has survived well and adapted to the harsh environment. Alicia, who has grown slightly unhinged after so long, cuts open beasts to search for their magic crystals. Just as she is doing so, someone tries to snatch her from behind, attempting to remain hidden. At the moment she extracts the core from a monster, the one watching takes action and tries to attack her while she is admiring the crystals. But Alicia dodges with ease, comes up behind the cat-like beast, and kicks it. She mocks it, asking how it even dared to think of touching someone else's prey. She declares that in hell there is punishment for stealing. She knocks the attacker far back and prepares to strike it with her spear. However, the cat-human monster suddenly speaks, apologizing and begging her to spare his life. For the first time in years, Alicia hears a voice other than her own in this place of monsters. The shock is so great that she decides not to kill him. Instead, she throws the spear close to his body to intimidate him. The monster bows deeply and apologizes for daring to attack someone so powerful. He begs for his life and offers all the stones he has, promising never to come near her again. Surprised to finally encounter someone intelligent enough to speak, she asks where they are. Hearing this, the cat demon tells her they are in West Alice. Alicia is stunned to learn that this place even has a proper name. Until now, the only thing she knew was that this land was called Hell. She had learned that from a sentence in a religious text she once read at the Holy Temple, which described hell as a land with a crimson sky and burning deserts even at night. Alicia throws down the magical crystals and asks about them. She learns that the stones make one stronger if they are consumed. The cat demon explains that the jewels are called mana stones. He looks at the ones she discarded and asks if she is really going to leave them on the ground. His reaction makes Alicia curious, and she asks if mana stones are truly that precious. Hearing this, the cat person grows excited and tells her she has no idea how valuable they are. He says these are the largest stones he has ever seen and believes they must be of Lord-class power. He admits that even someone like him could become stronger if he had them. To his shock, Alicia offers him the stones. At first, he cannot believe what he has heard, but when she repeats herself, he asks if she truly means it. Alicia then tells him she will give him the stones if he answers some of her questions. From their conversation, it is explained that mana stones are crystallized forms of mana itself. To grow strong, merely fighting wild beasts is not enough, since beasts can only hold limited amounts of mana. Demons, however, are different. Because they possess intelligence, they can store and control mana properly. Demons hunt each other, consume this power, and grow stronger. The stronger the demon, the more powerful the mana stone they leave behind. The cat demon also tells her that there are 4 great castles ruled by demon lords: Noah of the east, Alec of the west, Fez of the south, and Kaya of the north. They are the strongest beings in hell. Alicia continues her journey and barges into one of the castles. She opens the doors to a chamber where a demon sits on a chair. The demon welcomes her to the West Alec Castle and introduces itself as the master of the castle, the steward of the Western Hall Alec. Before the introduction is even finished, Alicia throws her spear instantly, defeating the lord. She declares she has no interest in introductions. She looks at the size of the mana gem he drops and is impressed. She decides that going after the big ones is the only way forward. She crushes the crystal and wonders which direction she should go next. In the end, it doesn't matter to her. She has plenty of time. Suddenly, she feels something unsettling. In an instant, she is teleported away. When she regains consciousness, she finds herself in her own room. Trying to stand, she falls back down, wondering if she has truly returned home. Looking into her mirror, she is shocked by what she sees. She has become younger and returned to her room as if time itself had rewound. In the room, while looking at the mirror, Alicia seems to be surprised by these turn of events. She looks over and over again. It is indeed her face she is seeing, but it is much younger. She even squeezes her cheeks in disbelief. She starts to wonder about the reason behind this situation. The only thing she can think of that could cause a disturbance on this scale is the Lord's magic stone. She tries to get up, but her ankle hurts. She wonders if it got sprained when she fell out of bed so suddenly. She takes a closer look but is shocked. Her legs and body are so slim that her bones are clearly visible at her ankle. She instantly checks the rest of her body. Her legs, arms, and everything else are far too skinny. She grows angry, questioning what has happened to this frail body of hers. In such a weakened state, she cannot even hold a stick properly, let alone a spear, which is her main weapon. She falls into deep sadness, unable to believe the situation. But the results will not change. After all this, it is certain that Alicia has lost the powers she had harnessed over a long period in hell. Just as she is despairing over losing everything she gained, there is a knock at the door. Her maid, Daisy, is knocking and asking permission to enter. Panicked at the situation, Alicia instantly lies back in bed, pretending she has just woken up. She allows Daisy to enter. The maid greets her warmly and asks if she had a good night's sleep. In the flow of the conversation, Alicia replies that she slept well and even asks Daisy how she slept. But before she can finish her sentence, she suddenly stops in shock and jumps out of bed. Surprised, she asks Daisy about her current age, because the Daisy standing before her looks different from how she remembered. Confused, Daisy tells her that she is currently 22 years old. This revelation shocks Alicia so much that she collapses and loses consciousness. Daisy panics and rushes to bring others for help, worried about her mistress. Meanwhile, Alicia comes to the realization that she has not simply become younger. She has returned back in time, to the very period when her life was about to take a sharp turn. She has regressed to her 17-year-old self. Later in the evening, Alicia finally wakes up and says she is thirsty. Seeing her awake, her adoptive mother, who had always cared for her like her own daughter, becomes worried. Daisy, ever prepared, quickly offers water. Alicia drinks, while others urge her to sip slowly so she does not choke. They ask what happened, saying she had suddenly collapsed and caused everyone concern. Hearing this, Alicia thanks her adoptive mother for the first time, which surprises the woman deeply, sending her into a flashback. Years ago, Alicia had once entered a part of the house she normally avoided. Her sudden visit shocked the butler and the maids, who rushed to stop her and asked why she had come. But Alicia pushed everyone aside, asking if she was ever forbidden to enter any part of the mansion. She demanded to know if there was something they were hiding only from her. Seeing that she was heading toward the south wing, the butler quickly ordered the staff to inform the Marquis, knowing this was serious. The problem was complicated. No matter how much the Marquis might have acted carelessly outside, he had never raised issues regarding the family heir. But this time it was different. He had not only brought an illegitimate daughter into the mansion, but had raised her secretly, hiding her from the madam until now. The staff feared that someone might end up dead because of this revelation. Finally, Alicia entered the room where a young child, also named Alicia, was playing with a nanny and other maids. The madam, surprised, inquired if this child was really Alicia. The maids panicked, afraid the madam might harm the girl, and rushed to explain. But, unlike their expectations, the madam did not respond with anger. Instead, she sat down gently, warmly greeting the child. With kindness, she told the girl that from this moment, she was her mother. This act of compassion shocked everyone present. However, Alicia, who had been raised to believe that nothing she had was truly hers, and that she should only feel gratitude without yearning for more, hesitated. Those words had been imprinted on her from the beginning, and so she instinctively hid behind the maid. Even then, the lady's expression remained warm. She told Alicia that her sudden visit might have frightened her, and she apologized for coming without warning, saying her joy had overcome her. She encouraged Alicia to rest comfortably. Meanwhile, the young girl wondered how she could possibly be the daughter of such a beautiful and kind-hearted person. She felt guilt pressing down on her, because she knew her very existence was the result of an affair. She believed herself unworthy, thinking she would only tarnish the Marchioness's honor with her presence. And yet, despite realizing how much she truly loved her, Alicia could never change the way she addressed her throughout her entire life. Now Alicia requests another glass of water while calling her mother. Hearing the words she had longed to hear for so many years, her mother becomes so happy that her face glows with joy. She asks her daughter if she must have been very thirsty and says she will bring the water instantly. She also asks if Alicia needs anything else besides water, assuring her that as her mother she is ready to do anything for her daughter. All Alicia has to do is say the word. Meanwhile, Daisy continues to watch over them, surprised that her lady did not stutter even once, and that she finally accepted the madam as her mother. While leaving the room with proper etiquette, Daisy wonders if a person can truly change this much in such a short span of time. To her, it feels almost as if Alicia has died and come back to life. Back in the mother-daughter conversation, her mother asks if Alicia collapsed because of her weak body, and for that she offers her some herbal tea. Alicia takes her mother's hand and asks if her fiancé has already been decided as Gregory Barker. Surprised by this question, her mother asks how she knew. She tells Alicia that she is still young and her engagement has not been formally decided yet. At this, Alicia tells her that she hates that person. She says she knows what he will do in the future, and if they act now, they can prevent things from going downhill. She also wonders if her mother can really help, knowing that noble marriages are like contracts between two families. Hearing her daughter's strong declaration, her mother tells her to rest assured and leave everything to her, as she also dislikes Gregory Barker. Hearing this, Alicia asks her if she truly feels the same. Her mother explains that it is not his appearance she dislikes, but rather his personality, which reminds her of her husband when he was young. She asks Alicia to trust her mother and not to worry anymore. She hugs her daughter tightly, assuring her that she will never allow her to suffer in a marriage she does not want. In the next scene, we see Alicia storming into her father's office. The Marquis pauses his writing. Alicia demands that her mother be treated with respect and not confined. Hearing her bold words, the head of the family, her father, tries to intimidate her. He asks how she dares to enter the head's office without notice or permission and demands an answer for her rude behavior. He orders her to return to her room at once. However, the family head does not realize that the girl before him is no longer the timid child who once feared him, but a warrior who has escaped death countless times. Alicia asks if he can continue behaving this way after locking away the mistress of the house in her room. She addresses him directly, her tone steady, calling him Your Excellency Marquis Valdemar Line, her voice matching the authority and pitch of her father's. Getting insulted by her daughter, who matches her voice in the same stern demeanor, he warns her to watch her mouth, reminding her that the walls of the mansion have ears. He tries to cover the situation by saying her mother has been resting in her room due to illness. Alicia rejects this explanation, calling it absurd, and slams the table as she confronts her father. She declares that her mother is not resting, but has been locked away because she opposed the engagement. Alicia questions how he can still dare to care more about appearances than the truth. Her father attempts to regain control, insisting she should not speak so boldly when many ears may be listening. Alicia, fully aware of his tendency to deflect serious conversations, presses further. In a serious and intimidating tone, she asks what would happen to his precious reputation if she or the Marquis's daughter were to rebel against such an engagement. Closing the distance between them, she forces him to consider his standing. Cornered, her father raises his voice and strikes her, demanding to know if she is threatening him. Unlike in the past, when such actions silenced her, Alicia's eyes burn with defiance. She tells him she is not threatening him but restraining herself from doing worse. Her sharp gaze unsettles him, making him wonder if she had always carried such eyes. He recalls that she used to be obedient and timid, yet now she stands in his study with the look of a battle-hardened warrior. He had expected her to tremble once confronted, but instead she meets him with unflinching resolve. Convinced it must be a rebellious phase of youth, he tries to dismiss her transformation. Alicia then composes herself, erasing all trace of emotion, as if nothing had happened. With no other choice, the Marquis orders her to leave, warning that disrespecting the head of the house carries grave consequences. Since she is still young, he decides to let it pass, telling her she must reflect on her actions until she understands her mistakes. Later, in her room, Alicia discusses the matter further. To all of her father's declarations, she responds simply with, "So what?" Shocked by her indifference, her companion asks if she is serious. Alicia hushes him, saying he is being too loud. The one before her is her brother, the second son of House Lane, Harry Molstein Lane. Stunned, he repeats that she has been banned from the main house, and all she says is, "So what?" He warns her the danger of falling onto the wrong side of the family head. She replies that she does not care at all. In fact, being away from that suffocating main house is a blessing. Turning the conversation, she inquires about her mother. Harry explains that their mother has been allowed out of her room, but is currently banned from entering the male quarters. When she learned of Alicia's confrontation, she tried to come as well, but their elder brother, the first son Felix Henry Lane, stopped her. Alicia remarks that she pities him, as he must be under heavy strain, and asks Harry if he has seen enough to reassure their mother that she is fine. Harry, caught off guard, insists he did not come at their mother's request but of his own will, out of concern for her. Alicia, surprised, bluntly asks if they were ever even close. Her words pierce his heart, but he admits that despite everything, he truly cares about his only sister. Alicia finds his words unexpectedly touching, confessing she had believed he disliked her. Embarrassed, he brushes it off, but Alicia feels glad, realizing that in this moment she is experiencing a bond she never imagined before. The conversation turns to her marriage. Harry explains that discussions are already complete between the families, and that the final approval from the imperial capital is all that remains before the announcement. Alicia reflects on this, and he hesitantly asks if she truly despises it that much. To shift the ground, she brings up her debut. He recalls, embarrassed, how she fell during the debutante ball, becoming the subject of ridicule among nobles. Afterward, she isolated herself in her room for days. Alicia, however, remembers that when she fell, she told herself that as long as she stood back up, everything would be fine. Yet her confidence had been shattered by the first person who laughed at her, someone standing right in front of her that night. She tells her brother that the first person who laughed at her helplessness was none other than Gregory Barker, and that was how her first and only debut ended. Hearing that he was responsible for her pain and humiliation, her brother, who had been speaking gently, suddenly takes a serious tone and asks if confronting or even defeating him would make her feel better. Before he can finish, Alicia smiles and replies that such a thing is impossible, but she appreciates his thought. Her brother apologizes for not realizing all of this earlier. He then suggests that since he cannot act directly against Gregory, perhaps a formal duel might not be out of the question, even if it meant causing a setback such as injuring him. At this, Alicia takes out a letter and hands it to her brother. When he asks what he should do with it, she instructs him to deliver it to Duke Tessin. Still confused, he questions what she is planning. Alicia smiles once again and simply tells him to deliver it as discreetly as possible, saying it would be better that way. She also asks if her brother would help his sister in this matter. Meanwhile, at the estate of Duke Tessin, the Duke reads the letter carefully. He remarks that there is already talk about a marriage between House Greitz and the royal family, something that is a secret among secrets. He further adds that he has also received a warning letter, reminding him that his frail fiancée requires care. The Duke mentions this to his butler and his trusted right-hand man present in the office. Concerned, he asks if there has been any kind of information leak. His right-hand man responds that he only learned about the marriage plans that very day, and no rumors could have possibly spread from their estate. After considering the matter in silence, the Duke instructs his butler Henrik to remain in the capital, while ordering his right-hand man Roderick to prepare for a journey. Both men are surprised and ask if he is planning to meet Alicia in person. In response, the Duke quotes directly from the letter, "The day autumn ends, by the 7 stones of Dolores near the Grand Temple." He explains that this is clearly an invitation directed at him. He adds that the traveling group must remain small. Though both Henrik and Roderick voice their opposition, the Duke firmly tells them to stand down. Once they leave his office, the Duke takes a deep breath, reflecting on how bold and direct the letter was. He rereads the final line, which offers congratulations and clearly references his first engagement. Pondering the deeper meaning behind these words, the Duke wonders who this mysterious Sirius could be. Meanwhile, at that very moment, Alicia Sirius Lane gazes out at the weather, quietly wondering if her letter has already been delivered. Now a carriage continues on its journey. Inside, we find Alicia and Daisy traveling together. Alicia asks how much longer until they reach the Grand Temple. Daisy replies that they are almost at their destination. Alicia remarks that the journey feels longer than expected. She then thanks her mother for allowing them to borrow her carriage, since if they had used her own, they might have already been unwell from motion sickness. She notices how smooth the ride has been so far and appreciates the Adele family's standard of quality. However, the moment she speaks those words, the carriage suddenly jolts violently. The entire ride turns rough, throwing the passengers around. Both Alicia and Daisy feel dizzy. Alicia wonders how just a few bumps could nearly make her lose consciousness, recalling how in the past, even in harsher places, she could ride strange creatures with ease. She reflects on how weak her current body feels at the age of 17. Quickly regaining focus, she considers the possibility of an ambush. Whoever it may be, they must be bold to attack a carriage belonging to the Adele family in broad daylight. Daisy tries to take the lead, insisting she will look outside. Alicia warns her not to, but she is too late. Daisy opens the carriage door and is struck by something, collapsing immediately. Alicia rushes to her side, cradling her and checking her condition. Relieved, she finds Daisy still alive but unconscious. On her neck, Alicia discovers a small dart. Recognizing it as poisoned, she inspects it carefully. The faint scent of cinnamon and cypress reaches her nose, and she instantly recalls that only one poison carries that unique smell. Shocked, she realizes it is musto, a poison that should not even exist at this point in time. Just as she speaks the name aloud, Duke Tessin enters the carriage, repeating the same word. His escort reassures Alicia, telling her Daisy is only in a deep sleep and not in any real danger. He excuses himself, carrying Daisy away, and explains that because of matters involving the royal family, they cannot risk any leaks of information. He assures Alicia that Daisy will be escorted to a safe place. The Duke then turns to Alicia, asking her to step outside, and addresses her by another name, Sirius. Alicia studies him carefully. With golden hair like sunlight and skin pale as snow, he looks strikingly handsome, unlike the fearsome figure rumored to lack any family traits. The Duke orders his men to stand down, keeping his attention solely on her. He admits that it is difficult to believe someone like her could send him such a bold letter. He also notes that, to an outside observer, the scene might appear as if he were intimidating a defenseless young woman. To lighten the tension, he mentions having heard that Lady Loren of Greitz suffers from a heart condition. Alicia only smiles in response. The Duke adds that her doctors had warned she would not be able to endure the difficult journey to Tessin territory. He further reveals that this information is known only to her family and her personal maid. Shifting the subject, the Duke moves to help Alicia down from the carriage, but Alicia ignores his hand and effortlessly jumps out on her own, which surprises him. Alicia then tells the Duke that the meeting spot mentioned in the letter is not here, but if they walk a bit farther, they will arrive. She turns to him and asks, "Shall we go?" The Duke, confused and slightly frustrated, recalls what he had heard about Alicia, that she was supposed to be shy and reserved, yet the girl before him is completely different. After a moment, the Duke steps forward and remarks that it is hardly a question he could refuse. He then asks Alicia why she chose this particular place for their meeting. Alicia calmly replies that she wanted to confirm something. The Duke describes the place they are heading, the Seven Stones of Dalor. Once, they served as a sundial, marking the hours of a living from morning to night, while from night until dawn belonged to the dead. According to legend, non-human beings cannot enter the ruins during the day. Alicia asks if he has entered before, and he replies that it is his first time. When he asks her the same, she admits, slightly tense, that it is also her first. The Duke steps into the ruins, asking if she will follow. She tells him she will after him. As he advances, he quietly wonders if she has set traps within. Alicia, observing him, thinks that even if there were, someone like him would simply break through. Once inside, she comments that he must indeed be human. Surprised, the Duke asks what she means. Alicia explains that if he had been unable to step inside, it would have proven the rumors about him being something other than human. He dismisses the thought, asking why he should fear mere rocks. Alicia replies that it is because he is courageous at heart. As she follows, Alicia reflects inwardly. She wonders if this place truly separates humans from other beings, and whether, after all she has endured, even after returning from a place like hell, she can still be considered human. When she steps inside and feels no resistance, she happily concludes that she is still human after all. The Duke studies her, realizing how different she is from others. Alicia, overjoyed, steps closer and thanks him for helping her find the answer she sought. Realizing she has come too close, she quickly steps back and introduces herself formally as the daughter of House Lane. The Duke tells her he already knows who she is. Alicia smiles and says that in that case, things will be easier. Without hesitation, she kneels and makes a bold request. She asks Duke Richard Tessin to marry her. Stunned by the sudden turn of events, the Duke thinks to himself that this woman is not only unusual, she may truly be impossible to understand. Back at the moment when Alicia proposes to the Duke, he grows angry. She continues to explain that he may think this proposal is sudden, but she assures him that he has nothing to lose. Before she can say more, the Duke interrupts in frustration, asking if she truly believed he came all this way for her nonsense. Inwardly, he curses the time he has wasted on what he sees as a childish prank. Alicia follows him, insisting that he has not listened to her until the end, but the Duke refuses to hear any further. She presses him, asking if he is not curious about how she knows of the imperial marriage plans. He rejects her words outright. This puts Alicia in a difficult position, since he was supposed to show interest. Without it, she cannot proceed. As she attempts to persuade him further, the Duke suddenly hears voices in his head. He grows tense, wondering how this is possible, since it should still be far from the time of the Rua cycle. He suspects he may have strayed too far from his own lands, and thinks he must return quickly. Alicia, unaware of his condition, asks if he is all right and whether he can hear her. She reaches out to help, but in paranoia he pushes her back, warning her not to touch him. He insists he is fine. Refusing to back down, Alicia takes his hand anyway, declaring that she will escort him to the carriage. The moment their hands touch, the voices and agony inside his mind vanish, and he returns to normal. The Duke is stunned, questioning why this happened, and if it is because of her. Alicia, meanwhile, worries he is angry that she touched him without permission. Yet, instead of pulling away, he grips her hand firmly and draws her toward him, commanding her to stay still. Pressed against his chest, Alicia is left wondering what has just occurred. In the next scene, the two sit on a bench, still holding hands. Both are embarrassed and avoid each other's eyes. Alicia quietly asks if they truly need to talk in this way. The Duke, distressed, explains that holding her hand is the only way to keep the voices away, and therefore it is the condition for him to hear her out. He tells her to state her proposal from earlier. Seeing her chance, Alicia declares that he must marry her. In exchange, she will foretell his future 4 times a year. The Duke, baffled by such an abstract offer, asks why he should trust her prophecies. She reminds him that he came only because everything written in her letter turned out to be true. At her confidence, the Duke frowns and asks if she is truly in her right mind, since no one would willingly try to marry him. He bluntly asks who she is trying to get rid of. She answers with one name, Gregory Barker. The Duke pauses. Cutting ties with the Barker family would be troublesome, but this strange young woman seems to hold some clue about the curse that plagues the Tessin family. Thinking on it, he realizes he should be the one clinging to her proposal. Without hesitation, he accepts the deal, but adds that he cannot marry her immediately. Disappointed, Alicia asks why not marry on the spot. He replies that there is no need to rush. Engagement alone will resolve the issue with the Barker family, and from then on he will treat her as the future Grand Duchess. After some thought, Alicia accepts this, deciding it is good enough. The Duke asks if she desires anything else. Alicia responds that she trusts his ability to handle matters as he sees fit, but admits she can sometimes be greedy. The Duke replies that he will keep that in mind. With their conversation complete, Alicia asks him to release her hand. The Duke lets go, and Alicia remarks that she looks forward to their partnership. The Duke responds in kind. News of their engagement spreads rapidly across the capital. People are astonished that the Duke is engaged to a lady from the northern families. Curiosity surges as rumors circulate about the dowry and gifts, the Bernardo Wells masterpiece known as Laderne Castle, the Lillies Villa with its legendary Golden Room, and the Echevarria territory, a strategic point between the capital and the south. Many wonder whether the Duke has lost his mind, or who exactly Alicia Lane is, appearing so suddenly. Meanwhile, Alicia trains hard to regain her former abilities. Yet she realizes that without magical stones, her efforts feel limited. Just as she is practicing, her second brother rushes in, confused and overwhelmed, demanding to know how in the world she has gained the title of future Duchess. After finishing her training, and asks if the news has already reached the north. She quickly snatches the newspaper, and upon reading it, realizes the Duke has handled matters very well. Yet she wonders aloud why, if she is at the center of everything, no one is talking about her. Every article only seems to highlight the Duke. Her brother, Harry, calmly tells her that she is not very well known in society. But almost immediately, his tone changes as he reminds her that she had told him she was leaving for the Grand Temple to pray. He demands to know how things could have turned out like this. Alicia first pretends innocence, then admits she had obviously lied about her plans, since she was under house arrest. As Harry grows increasingly worried, Alicia continues reading the newspaper. She notices an article about the discovery of a salt mine and their search for investors. Before she can finish, Harry snatches the paper away, telling her to stop reading. Alicia sighs, pointing out that since he brought it for her, there is no harm in looking. Harry, at a loss, wonders what happened to the fragile little sister he once knew. At that moment, a butler enters, announcing that the horse Alicia requested is ready. Alicia lights up with excitement as she sees the animal, while her brother is left confused. After all, she had never ridden a horse before. Without hesitation, Alicia rushes forward, leaps up, and sits on a horse with professional ease. Gleaming, she claims she has learned it, though to herself she recalls it was during her time in hell. Harry, now speechless, can only stand silently. Alicia smiles and tells him that he might need to catch up soon. Suddenly, another butler arrives, telling the young master he must return to the main building immediately. Harry asks what the matter is, but the attendant only glances at Alicia and says the issue cannot be discussed here. Realizing the urgency, Harry prepares to leave, telling his sister not to cause any trouble while he is gone and assuring her he will return soon. With Harry gone, Alicia resumes her training. She attempts to leap across 12 stairs at once, but nearly injures herself, saved only because the maids catch her in time. She realizes that while her body still remembers the motions, the strength she once had came from mana stones. Without them, there are clear limits. She continues her practice, leaping from her horse to a tree and then from tree to tree. While hanging from a branch, she muses that the only thing she truly misses from hell is, before she can finish the thought of mana stones, her grip slips and she falls. Landing clumsily, she admits to herself that training alone cannot restore her past strength. Just then, someone approaches. Looking up, she sees none other than the Duke himself. He asks if everyone in her family trains as diligently as she does. Taken by surprise, Alicia scrambles to her feet and asks why and how he is here. Offering his hand to help her up, the Duke explains that he has come for the title conferment ceremony. Alicia thanks him and accepts his hand, but in doing so, notices something she deeply longs for, a mana stone. The Duke, unaware of her focus, asks what she was doing alone in the woods. Alicia quickly stands straight, replying that she was only exercising. With mild amusement, the Duke comments that what she calls exercise would be considered the cavalry's full-level training. Embarrassed, Alicia asks if they can drop that subject. The Duke then tells her there is a leaf stuck in her hair. Alicia fumbles around trying to find it, but cannot. Watching her, the Duke sighs, excuses himself, and reaches forward to remove it. As his hand brushes her hair, Alicia's attention is fixed instead on the gleaming object she spotted, the stone set into his sleeve button. Even after the leaf is gone, she cannot take her eyes off the stone. She steps closer, staring at it intently. Confused by her behavior, the Duke steps back but accidentally trips. Alicia also stumbles, but he catches her at the last second. In that moment of closeness, Alicia studies the button carefully. She had wondered earlier if she was imagining things, but now seeing it up close, she is certain. Realizing how close she has gotten, the Duke asks her to let go of his hand. He knows that if he forcefully pushes her away, she might be hurt in more ways than one. Instead, Alicia holds his hand tighter, lifting it to her face, and makes a request. She asks him to give her the sleeve button because she is certain it is not an ordinary ornament, but a mana stone. He looks slightly disappointed and tells her that he cannot give her the stone. It has been passed down through generations of his family, so it is not something he can part with easily. Alicia feels a pang of disappointment, and the darker voice within her tempts her to take it by force. At that moment, the Duke gently requests that she move away from leaning over him. She apologizes and quickly steps back. The Duke reassures her that while he cannot give her this gemstone, he believes there may be another stone similar to it in the Tessin family treasury. He promises to search for it, and if he succeeds in finding it, he will present it to her as a gift. Alicia brightens with joy at his words, though the Duke quickly adds that he cannot make promises, only if he finds it. Alicia smiles, telling him it is enough just to know such gems exist. She wonders how the Tessin family came to possess these magic stones as well. Joining him at his side, Alicia says that since he is offering her a gift, perhaps she should repay him in advance. She then reveals that there will be no snow this winter. Instead, an unusual blizzard will strike from the last week of March into early April. Surprised, the Duke asks if she is certain. He knows that if such a storm were to arrive at such an unusual time, without preparation, countless people could suffer. Even if there is only a chance, he realizes he must prepare. Alicia explains that this knowledge is a gift, and she will not deduct it from the tally of predictions she promised him. Seeing the confidence in her expression, the Duke believes she is not bluffing. Grateful, he says that though he has not given her the gemstone, he already owes her thanks, as her warning will allow him to prepare and protect his people. Alicia walks beside him with a happy smile, saying she is glad she could help. At the entrance of the annex, many servants are gathered, including Daisy. One of the butlers approaches and presents a box containing items the Duke had ordered. Alicia wonders why so many are present. Suddenly, the Duke announces that he has something to gift her. The head butler then informs him that Viscount Felix is waiting for him in the main house. Alicia, surprised, asks if he came directly to the annex where she had been training. The Duke calmly replies that he came specifically to see her. The butler, startled by this closeness, can hardly believe it. The Duke orders everyone to leave, and they immediately disperse. As the servants withdraw, Alicia whispers to Daisy, asking her to return the horse to the stable since she has finished riding. Daisy nods and departs. The Duke then asks Alicia if she has finished speaking before opening the box himself. Inside is an exquisite ruby jewelry set. He explains that it once belonged to Duchess Marguerite and that it is part of the traditional heirlooms of the Count of Echevarria. Alicia gazes at it with shining eyes, wondering if it is truly meant for her. The Duke confirms that it is, telling her she will use it when appearing as the formal Countess of Echevarria. Alicia solemnly agrees, saying she will do so. Amused by her serious tone, the Duke finds this unexpected side of her rather endearing. He then asks if she knows much about the imperial families. Alicia wonders if this is a sudden test, but she answers by recounting the lineage of the previous emperor and his 5 sons. She explains that the first Duke is kind, the second died years ago. Tessin himself is the 5th, and Duchess Iserlin is her full sister. The Duke acknowledges that she knows the basics and tells her he will arrange a teacher for further studies. He also advises her to keep her unusual training method secret. Preparing to depart, the Duke tells her he will see her again at the investiture ceremony. They briefly discuss coordinating her dress colors with the ducal residence for the event. Then, leaning closer, he whispers something that shocks her. When she asks if he is certain, he replies that he saw it with his own eyes and is sure. Mounting his horse, he adds that he hopes the information will be useful to her. Then he departs as swiftly as he came. Watching him leave so suddenly, Alicia reflects that he is a far better person than she first believed. When she returns inside, she finds all the servants gathered, waiting for her. They immediately bombard her with questions about how she and the Duke became so close. Annoyed, Alicia wonders why they were all silent in front of the Duke yet so loud now. Irritated, she shouts for everyone to leave, except Daisy. The servants scatter quickly, making excuses as they retreat, until only Daisy remains. Daisy gently asks if Alicia would like tea after her training. Alicia, however, tells her that instead they must prepare for departure to Echevarria. The Duke had informed her that her father, the Marquis, would not be returning soon, as he had tried to oppose the marriage between the Duke and Alicia. Caught up in political matters at the capital, he would be delayed indefinitely. For Alicia, this presented the perfect opportunity to pursue what she truly wanted. Now, in the Duke's manner, the sudden arrival of someone puts the guards and household staff into a rush as they hurry to open the gate. Inside, the family members quickly gather near the entrance. Watching the commotion, Harry asks if their father has returned earlier than expected. His mother cautions him to watch his step, as he seems to be moving too quickly. The eldest son then asks if she had known anything about the sudden change in plans. The Marchioness replies that she has not heard of any such changes, and is just as surprised as the rest. She adds that since the Marquis always insists everyone greets him upon his return, she would have prepared the household if she had known. Looking around, Harry asks where his sister Alicia is. Suddenly, the manor doors swing open. The servants stand ready to welcome the Lord, but unlike his usual calm entrances, the Marquis storms in, urgently calling for Alicia. Not seeing her among those gathered, his frustration grows. Angrily, he demands to know why she did not come to greet him, and immediately rushes toward the south wing, shoving aside anyone in his way. He orders the servants to tell him her room's location and bursts into it while shouting her name. But to his shock, the room is empty. The eldest son advises him to calm down, reminding him that many eyes are watching. Still furious, the Marquis glares at everyone and declares that his daughter is missing and no one knows where she has gone. Suddenly, someone mentions that she went to Echevarria. Confused, the Marquis demands an explanation. The Marchioness steps forward and confirms that Alicia has indeed gone to Echevarria. Later, in their private chamber, away from the eyes of the household, the Marquis demands answers. The Marchioness explains that she received a letter from Alicia. In it, Alicia revealed she had been granted a noble title along with territories and had decided to manage her lands independently. Shocked, the Marquis asks why the Marchioness allowed such a reckless decision. He insists that as the lady of the house, she should have stopped Alicia before she left. Smiling faintly, the Marchioness replies that she could not have stopped her, even if she wanted to. She reminds him that he himself forbade her from entering the South Wing, making it impossible for her to even meet Alicia. Stunned, the Marquis clutches his head and asks if this is her way of taking revenge on him. The Marchioness calmly tells him she is only speaking the truth. The rules he placed in the household are now turning against him. She adds that in Alicia's 17 years of life, the girl had never once asked for anything or expressed her own wishes. But recently, Alicia sent her a letter addressing her as mother and for the first time requested a favor. In it, she begged the Marchioness to stop her father so she could escape without being caught. As a mother, she cannot let her daughter down, not now when Alicia has chosen to become a perfect role model. Taking the initiative, she tells the Marquis that he must change his ways and stop treating his children as tools. Hearing this, the Marquis firmly replies that they should end the discussion for now. He adds that those born into noble families have a duty to serve their house, and if she can arrange for someone to bring Alicia back from Echevarria, then she may handle matters in the South Wing as she wishes, once their daughter returns safely. Watching him leave, she quietly thinks that at least this has bought Alicia a few days. She wonders if her daughter is safe and whether she has reached her destination. Meanwhile, Alicia's own journey has brought her to her new destination. As the grand doors open, servants and attendants stand ready to welcome her. Alicia is impressed by the preparations, and the head of the household greets her warmly. Acknowledging the long distance she traveled, they explain that essential arrangements have already been made for her comfort. Alicia is astonished at the level of preparation, especially since her arrival was so sudden and without prior notice. She has arrived at Count Rocca's estate. The lady of the house explains that they had received word from the Duke, so everything was ready in advance. She shows Alicia to her new room, assuring her that Annie, a bright-hearted and cheerful young attendant, will assist with her daily needs. Alicia immediately notices Annie's lively nature, something she rarely encountered back home, where the atmosphere was always heavy. On the way to her room, Annie happily explains that everyone had been excited about Alicia's arrival and had done their best to decorate the estate, hoping her stay would be both blessed and enjoyable. She opens the door to reveal a luxurious room adorned with crystal accents and white contrasts throughout. Alicia admires the space, and when Annie asks if it is to her liking, she smiles and replies that she loves it. Relieved and happy, Annie tells her that if she ever needs anything, she only needs to ring the bell. Left alone for a moment, Alicia reflects that this place was said to be the final masterpiece of Bernardo Wells. Seeing it with her own eyes, she realizes the estate truly lives up to its reputation. Just then, Daisy, her loyal maid and friend, asks why they have arrived at the imperial capital instead of Echevarria. Alicia calmly explains that the title ceremony will be held very soon, leaving them no time to go to Echevarria first. With a small smile, she asks Daisy if she would like to go shopping with her now. Now planning a big round of shopping with Daisy, Alicia suggests that since they are already in the capital, they should go out and have some fun to reset their minds. Soon after, she enters a boutique of Atelier, a store famous for creating and selling perfumes. Looking around, she realizes all the rumors she had heard about the place were true. The perfumes and their bottles are truly extravagant. If she were still her old self, she could never have imagined stepping into such a place in the imperial capital. In the past, she would have been tucked away in her library, reading books here and there. But now she picks up a perfume and asks to try it. The assistants prepare a sample for her, and she applies it onto a strip of paper. Alicia takes in the fragrance deeply. The store manager politely asks if she likes the scent. As Alicia is about to answer, a graceful woman approaches her. She introduces herself as Katrina, a perfumer of Vale. Alicia instantly recognizes the name. Katrina is destined to become a legendary perfumer from the Western continent, someone whose Vale series perfumes will one day cause an uproar across the empire and elevate her status in society. Katrina gently remarks that it is the first time anyone has sampled that particular perfume, as it is a new creation. She admits she couldn't resist her curiosity to hear Alicia's thoughts and apologizes if she seemed too forward. Alicia, knowing Katrina is on the verge of a breakthrough that will soon make her unreachable, decides she must establish a connection now before it is too late. She describes the feelings the scent gave her, explaining that as the fragrance changes with each person's body, it feels as though it was crafted especially for her. Delighted, Katrina thanks her, saying Alicia understood the very intent behind her creation. Alicia humbly replies that the honor is hers, having had the chance to meet such a gifted perfumer. After some pleasant conversation, Alicia decides to purchase several of Katrina's perfumes. Before leaving, she adds that when Katrina creates her next masterpiece, she would be delighted to have it delivered to her estate. In her mind, Alicia considers that although Katrina is talented, her status as a foreigner and commoner may hinder her progress. By offering her noble name, Alicia plans to give Katrina a platform while also securing a powerful ally in high society. She formally invites Katrina to collaborate, and Katrina, deeply honored, accepts. With the matter settled, Alicia leaves the store after making her purchase. On their way to the next stop, Daisy looks at her with wide eyes and remarks that she never knew Lady Alicia had such a keen sense for perfumes. Alicia laughs it off, saying she does not actually know much. She only acted with confidence because she knows what Katrina is capable of in the near future. From her many past experiences, Alicia has learned how to speak like someone knowledgeable, because showing even the smallest weakness in the capital would cause people to look down on her. She admits to Daisy that she cannot always tell good from bad, but asks if she at least appears as though she knows everything. Daisy responds that Alicia is acting as if she has lived her entire life in the capital. Hearing this reassures Alicia that her performance is working well. No one will be able to find fault in her. After that, they move on to the next store to buy dresses, accessories, and household items such as mirrors. At the jeweler's, Alicia even buys out the entire stock. She continues spending money without hesitation, leaving the shopkeepers grateful for her patronage. Daisy, still shocked at the extravagance, watches as Alicia carries herself with ease. Seeing Daisy's astonishment, Alicia asks if she is tired from the unexpected turn of events. Then she smiles and tells her to hold on a little longer, as they are now heading to their final stop for the day, a renowned shop that specializes in boots and fine footwear. They enter the shop, and the owner politely asks what he can help them with. Alicia replies that she would like to place an embroidery order. The man explains that embroidery orders are handled on the second floor and calls out to Judith, the woman who manages that work. He tells her she has customers waiting. Judith quickly comes downstairs and invites Alicia and her company to join her upstairs. Alicia sits gracefully, holding a fan to cover part of her face. Judith offers to prepare some tea and apologizes if the place seems untidy, saying that had she known guests were coming, she would have prepared better. She explains that she has been buried in work and hasn't kept up with other duties. Alicia reassures her that there is no need to apologize, adding that she finds the place charming in its own way. Soon, tea is served. Judith reintroduces herself as Judith Pullman, telling them they can simply call her Judith. She apologizes again, saying she is not well educated and hopes her manners are at least acceptable. Alicia then introduces herself, explaining that she has heard of Judith's embroidery skills and wishes to place a personal order. Judith smiles modestly, saying she never thought her work was worthy of such rumors. Alicia then asks Daisy to take out a wrapped pamphlet containing a unique design she has prepared. Daisy unfolds the pages for Judith to see. At that moment, Alicia asks Daisy to step outside and give them some privacy. As soon as Daisy leaves, Judith suddenly crushes the page in her hand, her face hardening with anger. Alicia, calm and composed, tells her that no one else knows about this, so she does not need to worry for now. She adds that she had to take many detours just to come here, since this shop had been her true destination from the beginning. With a faint smile, she also mentions how poor Daisy had to walk long distances and carry heavy loads because of it. Judith, trembling, picks up a pair of scissors with the intent to strike. Yet Alicia, unfazed, continues speaking, remarking that since there is a shoe shop downstairs, Judith should get her a new pair of shoes. In that instant, Judith attacks. But Alicia spins her fan swiftly, blocking the strike. With calm authority, she declares that she is the most talked-about person in the capital right now. As she counters Judith's attack, Alicia reveals her knowledge of Judith's hidden identity, the heir to the largest intelligence association and the sole successor of the Croa clan. Judith, shocked at how effortlessly her attack was deflected, wonders what kind of monster Alicia must be to possess such strength and insight. Just as tension peaks, Alicia lowers her fan and softly tells Judith that she did not come here as an enemy. She came because she wishes to be her friend. At the moment when Alicia declares that she wants to be friends with Judith, she begins recalling what she knows about the Croa clan. This clan was once led by 6 heads, including the master. Judith, still on guard, quietly thinks about the knife she had placed in a basket. But her thoughts of striking are interrupted when Alicia suddenly mentions a tragic event. That 8 years ago, 6 farms and several shops near the capital caught fire simultaneously. Judith freezes, shocked, as Alicia continues. She reveals that the houses and families destroyed that night belonged to none other than the heads of the Croa clan, who led the Empire's greatest information network. Memories rush back to Judith. She remembers the night of the fire when she was a child. Someone carried her through the smoke as she cried for her parents, who remained trapped inside. The man carrying her told her she had to live, because only by surviving could she ever have the chance to do anything about it. Judith recalls watching helplessly as her home collapsed in flames, claiming the lives of her parents. Alicia explains that it was believed everyone perished that night, but in one house a single person was missing, a little girl. Judith, forced to relive her trauma, grabs a knife and tells Alicia to leave while she still can. But Alicia rises calmly and tells her that the Croa clan no longer exists. She warns that it will truly disappear if Judith keeps running away. Judith, furious, yells and demands to know what Alicia means by that. Alicia responds that she knows the truth. She knows who betrayed the Croa clan and caused the fire in the first place. Shocked, Judith presses her to explain. Alicia gently pushes the knife away with her fan and tells her that she not only knows who the traitor was, but that she also intends to help Judith gain the revenge she has longed for since that day. Judith lowers her weapon, shaken, and asks why Alicia would help her. Alicia replies that she already explained her reason. She wishes to be friends. But not just ordinary friends, the kind of friends who help each other when needed. Leaning closer, Alicia whispers that while the Croa clan was made of 6 heads, there existed another hidden group of 6, known only to the leaders as the Croa hexagonal clan. These were the ones who betrayed the heads and orchestrated the massacre. Judith asks if this is truly the case. Alicia tells her she can confirm it herself when she becomes the new head of the clan. She advises Judith to prepare quickly, because if she continues as she is, she may die before accomplishing anything. Judith nervously asks if their location has already been compromised. Alicia only looks out the window, remarking on how quickly time has passed. She reminds Judith that she is serious about the embroidery order. She expects it to be finished by spring. Alicia encourages her to continue her craft even if she becomes clan master, but notes that survival comes first. Saying this, Alicia begins to slip away. Alarmed, Judith tries to stop her to ask more questions, but Alicia vanishes, leaving behind only a message. For further information and help, contact Ruttern Castle. Judith is left speechless. What kind of woman had she just met? Still processing the encounter, Judith is interrupted when 2 cheerful children peek out and ask if the customer has left. She apologizes to them for taking so long. She then tells one of them to fetch their uncle, as it is time to prepare for another trip. The girl, Agnes, immediately understands what this means and goes to pack. Judith hugs her gently, asking if she really doesn't mind leaving again. Agnes assures her that they don't mind, because they know Judith would be in danger if they stayed. Judith promises that this will be the last time they move and vows to make sure it never happens again. Agnes brightens at this, asking if they can leave without saying goodbye to their friends. Their uncle soon arrives, the same man who carried Judith out of the fire years ago. He asks if she has finally decided to take a step forward. Judith admits she always hoped he would become the clan's master instead. But he shakes his head, saying he has always lived as a shoemaker and has no desire to change that now. She asks if he truly believes she can lead. He tells her that it depends entirely on her choices, and no matter what she decides, he will always support her. Encouraged by his words and by the children's embrace, Judith makes up her mind. They will move soon, and she will also complete the embroidery order Alicia requested by spring. Meanwhile, back at the estate, Annie enters Alicia's room, apologizing for interrupting her lesson. The instructor, seeing the urgency, ends the class for the day, something that makes Alicia secretly happy. Curious, she wonders what could be so important. Annie explains that the items Alicia requested have arrived, along with an invitation to the royal title conference ceremony. But there is also another unexpected letter paired with it, one that Alicia had not anticipated. At the Imperial Palace, Emperor Leonard Renat Luca is informed about the arrival of Duke Tezsin. The Duke enters the Emperor's office and immediately asks if his requests have been reviewed. The Emperor replies that he has indeed seen his request regarding reinforcements for the western borders. However, he questions why such reinforcements are needed, pointing out that the request is sudden and that there should already be enough soldiers stationed there. The Duke explains that the barbarians in the region are running low on food. When that happens, they will inevitably raid nearby villages and devastate the land. The Emperor responds firmly, saying that Tezsin already has sufficient troops. If more soldiers are sent, the other nobles will complain. He reminds the Duke that even though he is his younger brother, when the Emperor says no, the answer remains no. At this, the Duke reveals his true concern. Strange occurrences have been happening within his territory. This statement captures the Emperor's full attention. He asks if the Duke is serious, to which the Duke replies that the matter was reported by none other than Roderick. Hearing that, the Emperor pauses. Roderick is a trusted and reliable man. If he is the one making the report, then the matter cannot be taken lightly. On that basis, the Emperor agrees to grant the Duke's request. The Duke thanks him sincerely. But the Emperor, weary and hollow-eyed from lack of sleep, remarks that his younger brother should be truly grateful. He admits that even granting this will stir opposition from many nobles. Exhaustion is evident on the Emperor's face. He confides that the preparations for the upcoming title ceremony and the seating arrangements have drained him, especially since he initiated them without proper notice. On top of that, the Empress grew angry with him, forcing him to sleep separately for 5 nights. The Duke asks if the Empress was truly that upset. The Emperor clarifies, the real issue was that many nobles approached her seeking information she herself did not have. As the new Countess of Echevarria remained a mystery to most, the Empress became worn out and frustrated. She must be exhausted to the bone, he mutters, admitting that calming her down was harder than fighting a war. The Emperor then shifts the topic. He asks his brother how the young Countess is doing now. The Duke answers that she has not yet officially been given her title. The Emperor waves the concern away, saying, I'm the one granting titles, there is no issue there. The Duke adds that she is adjusting well, but the Emperor presses further, implying that he is really asking about something else. He then advises his brother to marry her once she turns 18. The Duke recalls his earlier conversation with the Marquis. The Marquis had argued that marriage at 17 would be too soon, suggesting instead that she should marry at 19. That, he reasoned, would be a perfect age, giving her more time to grow and giving him, as her father, precious years to spend with his daughter. But the Marquis's carefully laid plans seem to falter. He is not dealing with Eisen, but with the Emperor, and things are not unfolding as he intended. The Emperor notices his expression and asks bluntly why he looks so displeased. He warns him not to give the impression that he dislikes the idea of joining the royal family through marriage. Realizing the veiled threat behind the words of his younger yet shrewd sovereign, the Marquis quickly retreats. He insists that it is not displeasure, but an honor to be given such an opportunity. Bowing his head, he adds that he looks forward to becoming part of the royal family. The Emperor then tells the Duke quietly that the Marquis's words were nothing more than an attempt to buy time. The Duke replies sharply, saying that in that case, they must hold him to his word, whether he likes it or not. He rises abruptly, slamming the chair in the process, and says that because Echevarria has already been granted away, something he never expected, once she officially receives the title, not even he can call off the engagement. The Duke replies that he is fully aware of that. The Emperor, tense, asks if his brother is now ignoring every word of advice simply because he has fallen for a girl. But the Duke calmly responds that this is a decision he has no regrets about, even if it means giving up such a valuable territory. Standing firm, the Duke tells his brother that what truly requires his attention is not the engagement, but the storytellers in the capital. They are spreading rumors that he kidnapped the young lady of the Lane House with an axe in hand. The Emperor frowns, admitting that it must be due to the Duke's reputation. He explains that he specifically asked for a romantic tale to be spread, but never expected it to twist into something like this. The Duke, unimpressed, points out that the rumors are causing more harm than good. With the matter settled for now, he takes his leave. Just as he is about to exit, the Emperor calls out, warning him to take care. He tells him that rumors say the Ruas cycle will begin early this year, starting as winter sets in with the new year. The Duke nods, assuring him that he will keep that advice in mind moving forward. Left behind, The Emperor sits in silence, wondering what more he can do for his younger brother, who is carrying so much weight alone. Outside, the Duke's butler greets him and asks if his conversation with the Emperor was pleasant. The Duke replies that reinforcements for Tessin will indeed be granted. The butler remarks that this winter, the lady may come to the lands, and with additional troops, they will be able to stabilize the borders so the territory will not be left vulnerable. The Duke frowns, reminding him that she is only 17, so why call her lady as though she were older? But the butler points out that a 17-year-old who can write a letter and propose a betrothal is no ordinary girl. He adds that once the season passes, she will turn 18, an ideal age for marriage. The butler further notes that even the Emperor seems to share that view. The Duke narrows his eyes and asks if he is serving as a spy for the Emperor. The butler smiles and admits his observation is sharp, but insists that it is true. The Emperor wants him married soon. After all, the Emperor's own niece is only 2 years older than Alicia and is already engaged, which makes the Duke seem late by comparison. Climbing into his carriage, the Duke warns his butler not to push his luck too far, because he has no intention of marrying her. But to his surprise, a familiar voice calls out his name. Both he and the butler turn in shock. It is Alicia. She approaches with a warm smile, saying she thought it might be him when she saw the crest on the carriage. Greeting him politely, she adds with bright eyes, "It has been a while since I last saw you."